Welcome everyone to another episode of the world's greatest news and reviews.
Giving you opinions about nerd stuff is our superpower.
I'm Captain Mao.
And I'm Weapon 2. It's great to be here. What are we talking about today, Captain Mao?
Well, funny you should ask, Weapon 2, because we are actually bringing you something a little different, dear viewers. This is going to be the first in our new series of classic movie reviews.
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait. What are we talking about?
Well, if the table isn't a little bit of a hint.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's sharp.
Real sword, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, H. Chosen. We are going to be giving you our official classic movie review for The Last Samurai.
Is this the last of the samurai?
It might be the last
Oh
of
my
the
goodness,
samurai.
I'm excited.
So, The Last Samurai is a movie starring friend of the show, Tom Cruise. Tom, how you doing? Hope you're doing
Tom,
okay.
hey, it's been a long time. Let's catch up.
Yeah, just shoot me a little texty text. And also starring Ken Watanabe, who, if I'm being totally honest, might have stole the movie.
Yeah, he's good.
But we'll get into that here shortly. So we haven't really talked about it beforehand, but are spoilers going to be a thing? I feel like we should just dive in. What do you think?
Well, here, let's do just a touch of our opinion of it at the beginning.
Okay, like normal?
Because
we might want to coerce people who haven't seen this.
This is what I like to do. There might be people who haven't seen this.
Gasp.
So let's give them a touch.
So let's just do it like normal.
And then
yeah.
say, hey, stop it now. Go watch the movie, and then come back and see if your opinion matches up with ours about the movie.
All right, so like we normally do. So the reason this one is brought up is because it has recently came out on the Netflixes. So myself and Weapon 2 rewatched it, and for myself personally, I haven't seen it in quite a long time.
Been a long time for me.
Now, here's a fun little anecdote. When it came on, I was rewatching it, and I was just like, "Wow, this is crazy." Because we should do this as a review. We should do this as like our classic review segment. I was like, "But the movie's not that old. It came out like less than 10 years ago."
No, it's like 17 or 18
It came out
years.
17 years ago. Holy shit, I'm getting old. But I digress. Weapon 2, why don't you give the fans a quick plot synopsis? What is The Last Samurai about?
Boy, I'll tell you what. This is a very, very, very good movie.
Concur.
It's a period piece back in the 1800s. For people who can, it's about the General Custer type, Last Stand type frame in there. Shortly after that, and you got a captain from the U.S. military who gets brought over at that time in history. Actually, a lot of this is true to history, except for the exact names for people involved. And they were brought over, the Americans, to help Japan modernize their warfare and the way and the combat stuff and all that. So they're brought over. So, I don't know what else you want me to do. I'm worried we're going to get into spoilers of this. So basically, he's brought over. It's the big contradiction is the traditional samurai arrows and swords kind of crashing and butting heads with the new, gunpowder, guns, and firepower. So that's kind of the clash. Right there.
So that is the clash. It's the new advancement in warfare going against the traditional Japanese style samurai warfare. But the big plot point in this is, yes, it follows an American soldier who is a veteran of battles, right? And Tom Cruise's character.
Yeah. And
he's brought in since, by the way, raging alcoholic, terrible dude, all that kind of shit. We'll get into that in spoilers. But he is brought in to train the new Japanese army to go against the samurais. And without getting too much into plot, basically this is a Last of the Mohicans Avatar type situation where he learns the culture of the samurai and he kind of has his mind changed throughout the movie for various reasons. And then it goes from there. So I feel like you kind of got to throw that out there because that's the intrigue of the plot without giving too much away.
What it really is it's a story about redemption, and not redemption in that you're trying to redeem yourself to society or outsiders. It's a self-redemption.
Yeah.
It's him redeeming himself, his soul, his inner being, and it's about loyalty,
Honor.
selflessness, sacrifice. It's a very interesting story.
It is a fantastic movie. So I loved this movie when it came out. Yeah. But it's one of those that it's been so long that you kind of think to yourself, like, maybe it hasn't aged well type thing. I was every bit as into it as I was before.
I was loving it.
And it's a longer movie, but even the slower parts are so good. And they do storytelling so well. And, like, the set design and the costume design is fucking amazing.
It's just a really good movie.
So everything in the movie looks so real, like 100% real. Everything is believable. Everything feels earnest. The fight scenes are choreographed crazy well to the point where like they build tension. It's like edge of your seat stuff. The relationship between Ken Watanabe and Tom Cruise's character is 100% like believable, and their chemistry together is.
Well, that's Nathan Algren.
Is that the character's name? Yeah,
and what's his name? Katsumoto.
Katsumoto. Yep, Katsumoto.
Yes.
So we should get into spoilers though, because there's stuff I want to talk about. But the movie is fantastic. This is a great example of an early 2000s movie where Tom Cruise just killed it. He does fantastic in the role. But again, Ken Watanabe kind of steals the movie. He's the gem of this movie. He is fantastic in every freaking scene that he's in. But everybody's good. Everybody plays their part very well. There's no like weak link in the movie at all. So the movie is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. If you haven't seen it, go to Netflix. It's free. You don't have shit else to do right now. Watch this movie. Check it out. Come back. And we're going to be in the spoiler section now. Spoiler alert. And let us know what you think. Weapon 2, what are some stuff you want to throw out there?
So I'm just going to, I don't know. So I'll just kind of go through what I want to say. If you want to jump in and interrupt me, go ahead. So
that's what I do.
It's basically about a captain. They've gone through kind of the American Indian Wars here in America where, it's no secret. America's not perfect. It's done some pretty shady and horrible things in its history. One of the shady and horrible things it did was the way it treated the Native Americans, the indigenous people of this country. It kind of did them wrong, and there was a lot of kind of needless slaughter, and it sounds like he was kind of put in a position where he was there and probably engaging through what?
So let's stop right there. So this is the big driving force in the plot of this movie is that Tom Cruise's character is a veteran of these battles, and he is haunted by the things he was ordered to do.
That's why he's an alcoholic.
That's why he drinks so much, and that's why he has nightmares every single night. Is because he was ordered to kill women and children, and they slaughtered them. And he's fundamentally a good person, and he's not okay with that. So that's why at the beginning of this movie, he's in a very, very, very bad, tortured place.
Right.
Go on.
And basically, he kind of blames this colonel, who was his commanding officer when he was a captain, and you can see, so he's basically relegated himself to kind of some type of sideshow type thing where he comes out.
He's selling the gun.
He's working for Colt.
He's selling the gun that won the West or whatever. Yeah,
he's working for Colt,
but he's loading it for real and shooting it and shit because he's all drunk.
And he's drunk when he's doing it.
Good
and
times.
so you can see like Captain Mouse said, he's tortured. He is not good with what he's done in his life. And it's made him a tortured, miserable wreck. And this colonel, who he hates, brings him in to, of course, some of the Japanese delegates or whoever have come to try to recruit them to come over and help them modernize their military. And so they offer him enough money. He says, no, I ain't going to do it. But they offer him enough money. So, yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. So they take him over.
He has a great line when he agrees to do it. He tells the guy, he's like, you give me enough money and I'll kill whoever you want me to. But just so we're clear, I would happily kill you for free.
Right. Yeah. That's how much he liked that colonel.
Yeah.
So he gets to Japan. He sees that they're not.
They know nothing of firearms. They do not know.
At everything.
Yeah. No.
So, the way. And how this sets up is Japan is traditional with a high respect for the samurai. The samurai are unrelentingly loyal to the emperor. They will do whatever the emperor says. They are the most loyal people that could ever exist towards the empire. And plus, they are the defenders of tradition and their people. And they feel like their job is in the interest of their country, in their experience.
Right. And so they're in open rebellion against Japan right now, but they believe they are doing the right thing because they believe the people who are like puppeteering the emperor into moving to modern shit.
It's trickier than that. You're right.
That's kind of how it starts.
So here's the deal. You got a very young emperor. Okay, a young,
child, yeah.
a young kid in
Like
maybe
the wrong
his
side
20s.
of 15, I would say. He's
he is
young.
young. And so what's going on is he's not naive. He knows that there's all these politicians. Politicians are punks. We all know that already. And so you have these political people. You also have a lot of Western influence that are wanting to kind of get their foot in the door and kind of get influence into Japan. So the samurai recognize that this is not the emperor's will. He's being pressured. In fact, there's a line in there where the emperor basically says the only reason he's in power as long as he goes along with what they say. So he recognizes that these people will take him out of power. They'll take his country away from him.
He's also smart enough to recognize that he's in over his head and doesn't know what he
Right.
should do, because there is a scene later in the movie when the samurai do come to Japan.
Yes.
And he straight up asked Ken Watanabe, because he was like a mentor to him. He's like, what do I do? Tell me what to do. And the problem is, this is the flaw of the samurai, whereas like he believes him to be like godlike status, and he fucking gets on his knees and he's just like, I can't tell you what to do. Like, your will, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, motherfucker, like if you would have just given him some advice.
But that's not the flaw. That's not the flaw. That's the perfectness of the samurai and their respect and their honor towards the emperor, because you have all these Western influences and all these politicians who are telling the emperor what he has to do. They're the ones telling him, you have to do this. That samurai who is his advisor, a trusted person who will kill himself if the emperor only commands him to do it.
Yeah, I will gladly take my own life.
He gives wisdom. And he tells the emperor to follow his heart. Okay, so he'll tell him wisdom. He'll encourage him by telling him, follow your heart, do what's right. But he, contrary to the other side, is not going to tell the emperor. Right. And when the emperor basically asks him, tell me what to do, he falls to his knees and he shows him, I am not the emperor. I am your servant. It is not my place to tell you what to do.
Yeah, we'll play. Okay, fair enough.
And so that's the difference here. You have people who are telling him what he has to do.
And control him. They want him to be like just a puppet to
and
them.
he wants... It's really hard. You feel for this kid who he kind of wishes that these samurai would tell him what he has to do, but they have so much reverence for their tradition and their country and their emperor, they will not do that. They will give him what you call objective wisdom and information and encouragement that you are the emperor. You will do what's right. You will follow your heart, but they will not tell him what to do because they know their place.
So moving forward then with the plots, so they get Tom Cruise's character to train these soldiers to go engage them in combat. Now they have the superior weapons technology in the early onset of firearms, but they're not soldiers. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so they're
not warriors of any kind.
And so they send them into battle way ahead of schedule. And Tom Cruise makes the great points where he pulls the gun on the dude and he tells him to shoot the thing off his head, and the guy can't, and he's shooting at the guy, and like he shoots.
He's telling him to shoot him.
Oh yeah, he's telling him to shoot him.
He's telling him to shoot him.
He's like, oh, shoot.
He's pointing a gun at him, saying, look, he's going to kill him.
He's shooting at him.
Yeah.
He's shooting. He keeps shooting closer.
Yeah.
And finally he shoots, misses by a mile. And he's like, these men are not ready. And the dick general is just like, doesn't matter. We go fucking tomorrow, right? So they get wiped out by the samurai. But the cool thing in this scene is you see that Tom Cruise's character is a badass soldier in his own right. He knows how to throw down. He's on horseback. He has the freaking U.S. cavalry saber. He's throwing down. He fucking gets knocked off of it, but he's still fighting. And this is a scene when he's on the ground with like the spear, the flag thing or whatever, and there's samurai all around him. He's just fighting, and he won't stop. He won't give up. And like he sees Ken Watanabe's character, the ferociousness and the spirit and the warrior inside of him.
Katsumoto.
Katsumoto. He sees that, and like that's a great scene to me. You know what I mean?
No, it was to me, and that's a big scene for the film. And the other thing is, one of the generals that's on the side of progression and
I was about to mention this. Well played, sir.
Is either he has ultimate reverence for the samurai. I believe he's a samurai. He was a samurai. So
he did not engage them in battle. He refused. Remember?
You can tell this dude's reluctant as well. He's He's the flip side of the coin of Katsumoto, because you can tell he's trying to follow the emperor, be loyal to the emperor. The side he's fell on is trying to figure out this whole modern warfare thing, and he's a general for what he believes. You know, the problem is the emperor is so conflicted. Both sides are on his side, except for and even many of the warriors on both sides have his
the outside
loyalty.
Influences are that,
And so I mean, even during that battle, since they lost, you know, he comes over and he commits harikiri or whatever it is, where he stabs himself and they cut his head off.
Katsumoto assist him, and Katsumoto cuts his head off. And now this is the key point.
But the thing is, Nathan Algren has no idea what is going on. He thought they just executed him.
An unarmed prisoner.
He didn't understand.
And this is great. This is the difference in the cultures.
Right.
That to him
they
is
didn't
like,
understand it,
because he has this conversation with the later. He's like, I do not execute unarmed prisoners, and Katsumoto's like, he asked me to help him end his life. I was honored to do so. And it's like the difference, like neither one's right or wrong. It's just so radically freaking different. It's cool to see this conversation.
It's just a difference in culture.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see.
It's just a difference in culture.
So this is what happens. So they take Nathan, prisoner, and so the snows come in and it's going to close off the village, so he can't leave. So he's in their village and he's free to walk around and all that and like do whatever, but he's going to be there for months. And this is where the movie really, like, it's not like it was uninteresting before. In fact, this is where the movie kind of slows down a lot, but gets infinitely more interesting to me. When he first detoxes like a motherfucker because of all the alcohol and like the nightmares, and he's screaming at night and all that, which is great. Tom Cruise acts his ass off and it's brilliant. But they also Tatsumoto, is that his name? So his Katsumoto, his sister. It's the sister, right?
I believe it's
the sister.
Believe it's his sister.
So he puts Tom Cruise,
who Tom Cruise had killed,
murdered her husband. Not murdered, but like in the battle.
In the battle, had
and
killed
she
her husband.
knows this.
Yes,
but he charges her with taking care of him and keeping him alive, and she hates it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after he kind of gets past the alcohol shit, he's just walking around and experiencing their culture, and like this is where the movie is brilliant to me, because how he experiences the radical difference. And like he's doing journal entries, so like we hear his monologue like almost daily, and he talks about the discipline and the difference in their culture and how little by little he starts coming to appreciate the things that they do. This is where the movie, like I could just watch this second act of the movie over and over and over and over again, and there's not a single fight takes place, and like how gradually they come to accept him, and like he starts training and like the way they use the sword and like all that kind of shit, and he starts experiencing their culture. And like he has several great lines during this sequence, one of which when he talks about how this is the first he was able to sleep for a full night for the first time in years. You know what I mean? And like so many great things happen in this second act that I think was really, really, really interesting. But what's going on with the politics and all that? Because there's all this other shit going on in the background back in freaking actual Japan.
Right. So so they continue there. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, they're still pressuring. They're pressuring the emperor that he has to kill the samurai. And they come to visit the kingdom or the royal village or whatever it is, and that's where they have
real quick. So before this, there is a really cool fight that takes place when the village gets attacked.
Oh, the ninjas!
So the ninjas...
They have ninjas! So there's ninjas in this!
So they attack, and it is one of the most intense sword fight scenes you will possibly see.
Yes,
it just keeps going. It is fantastic. But the thing that I really love about this is it does something that not a lot of movies do in regards to the katana itself. So the katana is like super popular, right? It kind of has its own mythos in popular culture, so much so that like people think that it could do things that it really can't do in real life. So not to rag on T. Crawler too much, but like he loves The Walking Dead and he loves Michonne and like he loves how she uses the katana, and he was saying how the katana was like the best zombie apocalypse weapon. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, are you fucking high? I was like, no, let's start like until you hit somebody and you hit bone and it bends and then it's totally useless. I was like, the way she uses it, they make it seem like it's a fucking lightsaber. Like that's not the way a katana works. They're great. They're brilliant cutting weapons if you hit the perfect angle, if your edge alignment is perfect. They'll go right through several bodies. If you fuck that up at all, the blade's gonna bend, and then it's fucked. And in this fight scene at the end of it, if you look at not Tatsumoto or whatever his name is, but like the main badass guy that didn't like Tom Cruise, that was like training everybody, he's dual wielding. And at the end, you see his katanas, they're like bent and they're messed up, like they're jacked up from the fight. And so like little part of realism I loved about that fight. It was fantastic. But anyway, one of the best like fight scenes with the sword in any movie.
And so they go to the to visit the emperor. They're I don't really know what they thought they were going to do other than just go and make sure the emperor knows that we're your loyal servants. We're on your side. See what's up. And so that's when he has the conversation with the emperor.
Yeah, so they were invited to be a part of like the council to talk about things, but it was all a ploy because that one douchey rich dude
just wanted to kill him.
Well, he wanted to lure them out to get them there to kill them. Yes.
Right. It was a planned thing to try to get them there, to try to make them an easy target to be killed. And so, and they basically wanted to get the Katsumoto guy because he's the most respected samurai there is.
Yeah, if you get him, the rebellion's kind of
he's based on a traditional, I can't remember the name, but it was a real person in history. Yeah, that was as highly respected, and it was this whole thing, the same type of era when all this stuff happened. And so, that's the conversation we talked about before, where he basically he's trying to guide as the emperor as much as he feels is his place, and encourage him and support him, but not tell him what to do. And it is the big thing where he basically says, if all you have to do is command me and I'll kill myself. So, I mean, that's the kind of pledge of loyalty and honor that the samurai had for the emperor. And he's struggling. The emperor, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what the right answer. He knows that it's inevitable, the modernization of his country. He knows that the influences that are coming in are, I mean, no matter how much
he is trying to do what's best for his people.
He's trying to do the best. He doesn't know exactly what to do. He knows it is inevitable that the modernization is going to happen, and that the samurai and the tradition of arrows and swords are in the past, and he's conflicted. He doesn't know what to do. And so he basically makes the bad decision to not really tell his military to attack the samurai, but he remains silent and doesn't tell him
and
not
he just
to.
So he allows the rich dude, whose name I can't remember, but the guy who hired
fucking
the
coward.
Coward. But again, that guy, brilliant acting job in the movie, because you despise him. He's this weaselly fucking snake of a person, and just this rich dude who thinks he could buy everything, but is the total opposite of what a samurai is. And but again, great job with the movie because you hate him immediately, like that actor did.
Yeah.
And
so, I mean, basically they go into another battle, the big battle, where they tried their best to lure the troops in to try to have their best chance.
So Tom Cruise sides with the samurai. He
of course,
he goes back with, obviously, as you can tell through watching, he goes back with them. He feels a kinship to them and all that kind of stuff. He respects their culture.
And he redeems himself. He redeems himself because it's tied to the way he felt like he was on the wrong side, and when it came to the Native Americans in America, and he felt like he was redeeming himself. He was on the side of the people who are going to be victimized by these modern people in siding with the samurai.
Correct. And so throughout the time that he spends in their village, he has conversations with Ken Watanabe. I can't remember his damn name. And these are Katsumoto. These are some of the best scenes in the movie.
You know how I remembered it when I was coming in here? I do like word games with myself. So the way I remembered Katsumoto is I picture a cat.
Oh my God.
And he's hired a lawyer and he's suing somebody
over a car.
And then I just picture like a robot or something.
Oh my God.
Katsumoto.
Yeah. Okay. So they have conversations about, learning from each other and all this. And at first Tom Cruise is a raging dick and all that. But over time, like, it progresses to a friendship and all that. And so, one of the things they talk about is Katsumoto. I'm always gonna remember it now. Holy shit!
See, that's how it happens. That's a magic, folks.
Talks about how his sister is saying how she hears him having nightmares and bad dreams and all that. And Tom Cruise is just like, yeah, all men who have been to war, dream about the things they've done. And like Katsumoto's like, only those who regret what they've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there's just these really deep, profound fucking moments throughout it. And like you said, it's about his redemption. And like he also talks about how he doesn't fear death, but he yearns for it because he feels like he deserves to die because of what he did. So like to him, he wants to, but he's not going to allow himself to die. Like the first fight with the samurai is a good example of that. He wants to die, but he's not just going to die. He's a warrior. So this is a great example of how he's finally on the right side of the battle this time.
Right. And I mean, and that's the difference in culture, between which not one or is right or wrong. It's just different in culture. Their honor is if they're dishonored or they lose in battle, they commit suicide. Whereas the way Americans think is, I would rather die in battle. If I'm going to die, I might as well die in battle. So it's just a difference in culture there. It's like, I'll go out. I'm not going to just stop and kill myself.
Right. If I live afterwards,
I'm still going to go after them. And if I get killed, I get killed.
Right.
So, yeah.
But it again, the conflict is very interesting. So then he finally sides with them, and like they're going against insurmountable odds, not because they're outnumbered, because again they have inferior weapons technology. And the initial fight, the initial battle through using like strategy and stuff like that, they actually win. Mm-hmm. Not win, but like they survive basically the first wave. Then they mount up, do this final epic charge, and then get mowed down.
Yeah. Let's go. They bring in the Gatling guns, man. They just mow them down.
And by the way, talk about that Weasley freaking general dude. Like he was so good in this scene because like as they're coming, his panic and him freaking. I was like, get the big guns, get the big guns.
Because he's a coward.
Getting closer
he's
and closer.
A punk.
And then they start moaning. And I was just like,
but didn't Tom Cruise throw a katana and stab the colonel?
The colonel guy, he got him. Yeah,
he got him. Yes.
But here's the shitty thing is like everyone dies. Yeah. Except for Tom Cruise.
Right.
And he helps Katsumoto. No.
Katsumoto, yes.
Yeah, nailed it. He helps him do the assisted suicide on the field. Mm-hmm. And it was a great line also was Tom Cruise looks at him. He's like, I will miss our conversations.
Right.
So good. And so then like the movie.
You said that to Tom Cruise, right? Is that what you said?
No, Tom Cruise says that to him.
No, I think Katsumoto says that to Tom Cruise.
I know you're wrong. Tom
okay,
Cruise says
I might be.
Katsumoto.
We'll have to find out.
I will
sure.
miss our conversations.
Okay,
I'll put it right.
Somebody's missing somebody's conversations.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's a very good line. But then anyway, so they show up to the Emperor, and so the whole thing too was like the U.S. wanted Japan to sign some shit, some treaty thing or whatever, and the Emperor was gonna do it, and then Tom Cruise comes in and he gives the Emperor Katsumoto's sword. Yes. To the chagrin of everybody in the room. And so like the Weasley dude is like outraged at this, but the Emperor is really taken back and sad and all this. And I love the line where he looks at him, he's like, if you feel so shamed by this action, then take your own life. And he hands him the sword. And he's just like,
that dude's a punk. He's like, no.
And then like he refuses to sign the treaty because he says it's not in the best interest of Japan and his people. America gets pissed, so they fuck off. And Tom Cruise, who's
only temporary though,
all banged
in history.
Up, yeah. So like he kneels down and he's like, tell me how he died. And he's like, no, I will tell you how he lived.
Yes.
Fuck, there's so many good lines in the movie. It's such a good movie. So,
and then Tom Cruise says, Your Majesty, if you feel that I'm the enemy, only command me, and I will gladly take my life.
And you know he would do it.
Yes.
God, it's so fucking good. God. And it's like I miss honor. Like I miss that being a thing. Like shit. I mean, not that I remember because I would like for it to be a thing. But so okay, we're going a little long here, but movie is fantastic. It is
great movie.
If this is your thing, if you're into like period piece like swords and sandals type thing, I mean this is a little newer than that. But
are they wearing sandals on this?
They're not. That's why I said this isn't quite that, but it is every bit as good and every bit as epic as a movie like Gladiator standard. To me, it's just as good. I think it's an amazing movie. And I think criminally underrated because you never hear this movie talked about in that same vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it took me watching it again here where I was like, oh my God, this is a good movie.
Which is funny because
I forgot that it was so good.
You text myself and H. Dresden saying, God, I just watched Last Samurai again. It's so good. Like the day after I had rewatched it. And I was just like, well, that's funny timing. But yeah, definitely check it out on Netflix. It is worth a watch. It is it's way better than I remembered it. And I remembered it pretty fondly. Mm-hmm. Any closing thoughts?
No, just watch that movie. It's a good movie.
Check it out, man.
It's free now.
Yeah. You got nothing else to do.
You're hunkering down.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do it. And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode of the World's Greatest News and Reviews. If you've enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.
That's right. Peace.